Welcome to Ascending with Toni Rochelle, and I am your host, Toni Rochelle. You know when you do a blog and you tell her what happened, you tell the people what happened? You know when you write a quote, you telling the people what happened, that's all storytelling. You hear that story, right? And you like, dang, she made it through. He did it. So if she can do it, then I can do it. And that's what we have to do. We have to be in rooms like this. We have to be in environments like this, community, and just talk. So we're going to talk today, y'all. So y'all ready to ascend? Yeah. Introducing my guest, my lovely, beautiful guest, Miss Cathy Adams. First of all, I want to say thank you for being here. I'm emotional because you said yes. When you think about the word ascending, what does that mean to you? What does the word ascending mean to you?
First of all, I just want to say I love Ascending with Toni Rochelle. She's beautiful. And when you say when you get there, she's already in the room, so she's there. All she's going next is up top. Okay. So ascending means to me is knowing that I could and I did. And so when she talked about her story, I thought about, at the time, only when I was 5 years old. I'm from Meridian, Mississippi. And I used to go downstairs and tell my daddy, when I get big, I'm going to California. That was my entire life. At the time that I graduated from high school, and I was going to Mississippi State University. Didn't end up that way. 2 weeks before I was going to Mississippi State, my boyfriend at the time said he was going to Ohio or somewhere. And he said, well, I'm going to go to Mississippi State. And at the time, 17, 18 years old, I said, we can't go to the same school. How are we going to know if we even love each other, want to be with each other if we're going to the same school? So when you talk about God stepping in 2 weeks before it was time for me to leave, I switched and went to Jackson State University, which was just amazing, is how I got here. But when you talk about the journey, so when it was time for me to do my internship, and my parents, both my parents are deceased. And I remember when everybody went into their interviews, everybody came out, and it was fast. When I went in my interview, they said, well, we're not going to be able to let you go to California. I did my internship at what was then the Northern California Black Chamber of Commerce. And now I'm the president and CEO of the Oakland African-American Chamber of Commerce. So, but when Toni talked about your journey, I went into that interview and they said, we can't send you all the way to California because they're not paying you and we can't send our students that far. I said, well, my mom and dad are gonna take care of it. They said, no. They said, they've got to pay for it. I broke out in hives. I get chills when I think about this story. I broke out in hives all the way on my body from here, all the way down. And I was in the infirmary. And what was interesting is that I called my parents, and then this is why you have to have relationships. So they actually wrote a letter, even though they wasn't gonna pay. I said, well, just have them do the letter saying that they're gonna pay so I could go. I said, I gotta get to California. Needless to say, they got the letter there. They let me go to California because it was like my dream. And when you think about your trajectory and the things that hold you back, haters come in all ages, all forms, all shades of color. But that's when you talk about resilience, when you talk about the ascending piece. So when I landed here in California, life just went that way because I always knew at the end of the day that I was gonna be in charge, do what I need to do, and handle it. And so when you talk about your story, and as we will go, because I definitely want our host to ask me questions so I don't go too far. But I always say when I look like I'm about to cry, so I won't mess up my makeup, I have to say something that's funny. So when we grow up as women, we're all unique in so many different ways. But we always have to figure out how we elevate the voices, how we speak for a sister that has it in here, but may not be able to get it on the outside. And I never would forget when you talk about in charge. Being in charge is what people will allow you to do. But you have to make sure that nobody is in charge of you. Okay. So you do your own narrative, and I don't ever want you to say I'm in charge. Demonstrate the behavior that I am the boss. You understand me? You don't need to say it. Your persona is going to project that. So I want to make y'all laugh real quick. So we'll talk about that other story of how just the whole trajectory has changed. But I never would forget when we used to play house in the backyard. I always had to be the mama, right? Always had to be the mama. This particular day, I go in my backyard. I've got like 7 friends, and they're standing there like, I'm like, what's going on in here? And I said, what's going on? They say, we don't want to play in your backyard anymore, Cathy, because you always got to be the mama. And I said, well, don't anybody go anywhere. I don't have to be the mama. I know that wasn't true. I said, I don't have to be the mama. And I went in the house, and I asked my mother, and I said, I need some money. And I said, I need it now. And my mother would kind of whine when she talks. She goes, oh, Kitty, I gave you money this morning. See, that's when the trouble starts. She should have said no. And she said, I gave you money this morning. I said, I know, but I need it. I need it. She gave me the money. I took the money. I ran down to the bottom of the hill, and I bought 8 suckers. And that was, you guys are too young to know, they had those big suckers where you had to stab them to open them. You couldn't get them open. Couldn't get them open. I ran back up the hill out of breath. They were in my backyard. I gave everybody a sucker, and I waited till they opened it until they started licking. And about 5 licks, I said, who's the mama? They said, you, Cathy. So I always
taking charge at an early age.
But I say to myself, that was when life started. So I have the stories. And the story is that as you are ascending, haters and everything is going to get in your way. Things were happening for me this year. It started off with a bang. And when I share it, I'm not a narcissist. I just get it done, but I have to share it with you because this is what we call feeling. So when things happen to you, I don't want you to run away from it because it's your time. And when you talk about, I don't like that word like shine, but I will take on it because I want to kind of be with the, millennials, Gen Xers, whatever. So I said, okay, when the shine is coming, you're supposed to take that shine, that array of light, and I'm supposed to cast it over there. I'm supposed to cast it here.
That's right.
Because when one shine, we all shine.
Yes.
This year started out with a bang. I got a call from Assembly Member Mia Bonta, the Unsung Hero Award. Then I got a call, and then they said, the Warriors want to give you this Impact Community Award. Then the realtors say, well, we want to recognize you in Women's History Month. Then I met Donald Lacey. He was in Accra, and I went to Accra, and that's the experience that we'll talk about when we get to the real part, the real story, when your life really changed. And I saw Donald Lacey, and I said, well, can't y'all honor somebody else? And he said, no, Sister Cathy, I didn't call you because I didn't want to tell you when I was in Accra on the phone. And when I came back home and you go in the door, because I recently ended a 7-year relationship, and I want to say the realness of when you make a decision to move forward. Doesn't have to be with no cheat, no this, no that, but you look in the mirror and say, how do I see my life in the next 10 to 20 years? Yeah. And sometimes things that make us feel good don't want to have longevity. Because I say it all the time. Men can have a club foot, one tooth, and still get somebody. We got to always be ready. You know what I'm saying? So we have to make the choices for ourselves when it's time. So as I digress, I came into my door after I had left the Golden State Warriors. I was so nervous that they kept saying, well, why is she so nervous? She talk all the time. But you was nervous because it's not like I'm standing in front of 30,000 people, less the one that went and got popcorn, the other 5,000. And then they were like, when the Lakers come through, don't talk to anybody, just stand here and don't say anything. Oh, Lord. Disruptor. LeBron passed by. Me with my silly self. Hey, LeBron. And he turns around and he says, and I think he was just as embarrassed as I was, because I was like, hey, LeBron. And he said hi, and I'm saying that is not what they said. So when I got home that night, and I came in the house, my place, myself, and I started to cry, and I said, what's happening here? And all I could think about, I said, I don't want to be overexposed. I want people to like me. I try so much to fit in because people see you doing all this stuff, but they don't know what happens when you go home at night.
Ooh,
and when you're by yourself. Or I don't get involved with this, that, she thinks, whatever. Because I was put on my life to help young women, to mentor them because someone mentored me.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, when I talk about how we change the narrative, wherever you are in your life, you can lead. I don't believe in, well, they're not old enough or they've not had enough experience. No, anybody can read a book and absorb what it needs to do. It don't take us long. What do? You go where you go, you get trained and you go there. But the point I'm making, because every now and then I'll digress, but I'm gonna come back. For a minute, I was sitting there crying and I said, I'm supposed to be happy. Ooh. But instead, I'm sitting here telling people like, oh, don't honor me. Can you honor somebody else? Give somebody else a chance because I don't want people to think that I think this is blah, blah, blah. I went in that head. And then when that other mind kicked in, it said, girl, F that. You ain't gonna always be the it chick. So when you getting your flowers and your awards, get them now because I may not be nothing in 2025. So I embraced that. And then it was a day when our host talked about being able to let people know your story. Yeah. And when I went on a story, I went to Accra, Ghana last year, and I saw a decline in my relationship, meaning that we were fun, it was great, and it is what it is. He was 15 years younger, so cougar in the building.
Hey.
It is what it is.
Hey.
But when you go to Cape Coast, Elmina, and you walk into those slave caves, you can almost smell like they're right there. Yeah. And they always say when you go, you won't come out the way you left. But I knew, and this was a very special occasion. Elaine Brown, former chairman of Black Panther Party, is my dear friend. She celebrated her 80th birthday. Ooh, I knew in February that I was gonna end this relationship, but I didn't talk to anybody or do anything because it was one of those things where it's like, how does this fit in my life the next 10? I'm very self-aware, don't get it twisted. I might be a cougar, but I'm very self-aware of myself.
I'm gonna stop you right there.
Toni. And if I had tights on under here, I'd show you how high I can kick my leg. But I'm just saying, but y'all said real. Did Toni not say real?
Yes, I did.
Did she say real?
Yes.
I heard real. But we're focusing on our word, ascending.
Yes, we are.
So I'm saying this because she talked about what you say that will help somebody, and I'll wrap this up. Well, it would have been selfish of me to quit my boyfriend before we went to celebrate Miss Brown's birthday party. Now, I'm in PR, so I can put on the best game face that's around. Yeah. We could have played it off, because never let your emotion cloud your judgment when it comes to your money.
Business.
Keep it 100. And so I didn't tell anybody. And there were a series of things, but it was nothing crazy. It was more or less, I will sum it up. Sometimes, and listen to this, some people's thoughts are bigger than their pockets. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of hard to achieve the dream. You will get there, but I manage several things, but I know what's in my pocket. Yes. So if you never write a check, I can pay for it. You understand? And that's how you plan, because I tell people you can't think when no ain't no money in your pocket. Your dreams don't, your thoughts don't flow well. Yeah. So I know how to operate, and I'm one of the most outgoing people in the world. But I understand risk. Anytime you're an entrepreneur, you are a risk taker.
Yes.
So the point I'm making is I never told but a few friends. I said, listen, I'm breaking up with my guy. And I don't want anybody to talk to me about it. Great guy, still love him very much, but this is the direction I want to go in.
Okay, I'm stopping you. I'm stopping you because I want to talk about it.
Thank you.
I want to hear about it. Don't y'all want to hear about it?
Listen, and this is something that we do. We all have girlfriends. It's just like when people die. I might be having a good day, but if you come up to me and say, hey, Cathy, how you doing? I'm so sorry for your loss. Now my whole mood has changed. And sometimes we have to understand boundaries when you're dealing with that. And it wasn't easy for me to do it, but it was necessary.
Yeah.
Because it's not the first. I was married. My husband was from Cote d'Ivoire, and he was Orthodox Muslim. Well, I knew I was never going to be Muslim, but I got married because I said, well, I'm going to just have fun. This is great.
Okay,
So,
wait. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk to each other now. Because she's definitely have ascended, right? That's a story.
Yeah.
First of all, shout out to